whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
So I haven't put Kim McAllister on yet. Are you done? Okay. I'm checking her out. Okay, look how cute she looks. Look at Kim McAllister. We're wearing our Niner gear, baby.
It's look over my headphones, so it's like...
I
look
really,
like Kenny from South Park. This hat I purchased.
It itches. It itches. Guys. Oh
this hat I purchased, I was sent by KGO to cover the very last game at Candlestick Park. The very last 49ers game ever played.
Love it.
I even forget what year it was. But they were guys roaming around. And of course, KGO was too cheap to give me a ticket into the game, even though we had KMBR. So there I am in the parking lot, and the guys kept coming around with these carts full of things saying, your very last chance to get stuff. So I'm like...
From Candlestick, I guess.
You can't keep rolling by with my very last chance to buy 49er stuff at Candlestick Park. So I bought this wacky hat.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I know she's wearing that, and I was like, okay, what do I grab? And I just look on my haul tree, and I have my Niners, this is my husband's Niner scarf. So I'll be wearing that. It's freaking cold, so it's a good idea to wear a hat and a scarf and everything like that. But yeah, I want to show this because since we're wearing our Niner gear, I mean, it's pretty freaking cool. Can I just say?
I mean, can you just be proud of me for having Niners gear? Like that's.
I am very proud of you, and I'm proud of you wearing it. You know, I rock my crap all the time, but look at this though, Kim. Look how cool that is. So that's the sphere.
Oh, is that the sphere? That's it's a 49ers hat.
In Las Vegas, and they put the Niner helmet on it. I'm telling you, that is really, if there was a genius marketing hack, that sphere is it, man.
I think that's a cool thing.
It is so awesome. So yeah, I mean, that was just going all over social media yesterday. So go Niners. Oh God, the countdown begins.
Yeah.
I am so very excited. We will have in a little bit the kid, the prognosticator that gives Puxatawny Phil a run for his money. Apparently, there was an 11-year-old that's calling it for the Niners, baby. I don't believe in any of that crap. It's one game. Not happy about the news yesterday regarding the field.
I saw that on your Facebook page. I was surprised about that.
So, okay, for people, we cleared this up last time. The reason why the Chiefs have the better stadium, apparently, is because they're considered the home team. And it goes back and forth. There's no conspiracy here. Okay. But I will say this. It's a bit bull crapola that their field is so soggy. What they did is they put sod on top of turf. And then it's soft. Now, apparently it's safe. It's not dangerous to play on. It's just not what the Niners prefer. They like a little firmer. You got your preference. It's like a mattress, right? You like to sleep on.
I think that they would give them what is, the same field that they're going to play on in the Super Bowl.
You think it'd be fair, and the Chiefs are not sharing the field that they're allowed to practice on. They don't want to share. Look, people, it's the Super Bowl. You got to play and you have to win. Whatever the, field conditions are. Obviously the stadium is indoors. So, yeah, the stadium's indoors, right? It's a dome. So it's not going to be the exact same, but you know what? We got to come through, baby. That's it. All right. This is the Nikki Medoro show. I do want to, at the top of the show, before we do Kim's headlines, I want to remind you guys that the raffle is up and running. So here it is. Let me take this background away so you guys can see it a little bit better. So this is the raffle. The cooler is on the left, and we have 2 vintage KGO wine glasses as part of the other raffle prize. Tickets are $10 a piece. You can buy them through PayPal, paypal.com. Specify in the PayPal comments whether you want your raffle ticket to go to the cooler or the wine glasses. And some of you have sent, $20 and you want it in each. So just specify what you want with the money that you're sending in. Again, just go to paypal.com. The email you send it to, of course, is the show email, the Nikki Medoro show at gmail.com, the Nikki Medoro show at gmail.com. Snap these raffle tickets up because this is a fundraiser for the show. We are 100% crowdfunded. And so, yeah, and a big thank you to both Kay and Sherry for donating these prizes. So it's really awesome that we have fans that want to donate stuff to raise money for our show. So again, just go to paypal.com. The tickets are $10 a piece. Specify in the comments whether you want the wine glasses or the cooler or both. You could send in enough for both, but each prize is a $10 raffle ticket. And yeah, we'll do the drawing on the 8th, which is this Thursday. I'm going to close it down like at 8 o'clock in the morning. That way I can get all the names in. And yeah, so I really appreciate each and every one of you supporting the show in this way. It's a fun way to raise money for the show. And so we really do love doing that. And it's a great way. But again, the other ways you could support the show, the super chat is always live in our Patreon. 100% crowdfunded show, people. This is the way that we can keep the lights on, literally. So just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. Our Patreon link is right there. And a big, huge thank you to everybody that signs up. And an even bigger thank you to those that are already Patreon subscribers and then donate even a little bit more every single month because we literally can't do it without you. So we really appreciate it. I love it so much. Okay, before we get to the headlines, 2 things. Happy birthday, Bob Marley. So,
happy birthday, Bob Marley.
Happy birthday, Bob. Bob Marley, the One Love movie is coming out on Valentine's Day. So guess what I'm doing for Valentine's Day? That is exactly what I'm doing. And then Toby Keith died last night in his sleep from stomach cancer.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had stomach cancer. Yeah, that's young. You know what's annoying, though, about this year of 2024? Somebody can die of stomach cancer and then they still blame COVID. Like, I swear to God, like, this is just, people get stomach cancer. It's really sad. Apparently he wasn't, Toby Keith wasn't doing well. So I think he hadn't been battling it very long. I want to say a year, maybe? Like he found out a year or 2 ago that he had it. So it's really sad. He's a controversial figure in some circles, but I think that I'm not a huge country fan. I know Red Solo Cup. I probably know a bunch of other Toby Keith songs that I don't know that I know. But 62 is way too young to lose your life to stomach cancer or just to pass away of any causes. So our hearts go out, obviously, to his family. I didn't realize that he had such a controversial type of reputation among some circles, like the Dixie Chicks. Him and Natalie Maines were kind of button heads.
Oh, I didn't
Apparently,
know that.
at one point, he showed during one of his concerts, I read a picture of Natalie Maines next to Saddam Hussein. And then Natalie Maines of the Dixie Chicks, or Dixie, whatever. I forget their name now. The Dixies. She had a FUTK shirt. And she said, like, it was supposed to be like trust and kindness, friends in trust and kindness, but it was really FU Toby Keith. And she finally admitted it. That's why she wore the shirt. But yeah, I mean, I think, anytime somebody passes that young, it's a sad day. And yeah, John, people will blame the COVID vaccine for anybody that dies. If you're anti-COVID, it's the COVID vaccine. It's the COVID vaccine. People died of these things before COVID, and sadly, people will continue to do it. So yeah, I just wanted to mention those 2 things. Happy birthday, Bob! Life and death, all on the same. Okay, we have a lot to talk about today. A lot of breaking news. So, and I'm sure Kim, you're following this.
Oh yeah.
Trump has lost. Now, of course, he can appeal it, but Trump has lost this one ruling. Court has ruled that Trump does not have immunity from election interference for being prosecuted for it. So he can be, is what they're saying. Not that he's guilty, but just that, yes, my friends, nobody is above the law. So we are continuing to follow that. I'm sure Kim will have that in her headline. So we'll take some of your comments on that. We will, of course, talk about how the Republican Party is completely botching up this border bill. I mean, they are trying to find any reason possible not to give Biden this win. And so there's chaos. I mean, some people, Fox News was reporting there was like screaming going on behind closed doors. Nikki Haley has come out talking about that. Also today, we'll talk about Governor Newsom trying his best to help Oakland and East Bay, with their crime problems. I don't know if it's really going to work. I don't know it's a mentality problem, people, and that's going to be hard to change. I will, of course, play you the video of the 11-year-old who I love because he's calling it for the Niners. It's just a cute video that I want to watch. And then speaking of video, Meta has decided that a video that everyone knows is fake of President Biden can stay on the platform. I'm really upset about it. I think that this is a slippery slope. I understand that I understand a little bit of their reasoning behind it regarding when you set up rules and terms and services and all sorts of, things like that. You have to be explicit with what things are and what things are not. But it just really upsets me that when we know something's fake, we're just going to keep it up, even though it's literally leading to division in this country. All right. So all of those things are coming up, plus some news to tell you about.
Oh, yeah.
It's all, and one of these news I actually showed one of my children. I'm like, be careful. All right, that's all coming up on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
We'll start off here with Donald Trump not having presidential immunity from prosecution on charges related to his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. That is what a federal appeals court ruled today in the criminal election interference case being prosecuted by special counsel Jack Smith. Trump is expected to ask the Supreme Court to overturn that ruling, so on it goes. But as of now, the presidential immunity defense is dead.
Yeah, he has until the 12th, I think they said. Yeah, February 12th to appeal the ruling to the Supreme Court, which he will. Mm-hmm. I know that you are seeming a little bit skeptical if this Supreme Court is going to uphold anything, against Trump. I think there is a good argument that you can't have a president be above the law. You can't do that. So I'm cautiously optimistic. And Spencer, you make a good point. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But Spencer says the Supreme Court might not even take it. And then they'll just let the other court's ruling stand and they keep their hands clean, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Supreme Court will take it up. So we'll see what happens.
I think that if the Supreme Court doesn't take the ruling or rules against him, he's going to come out swinging against the Supreme Court.
He can swing all if he wants to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, have your temper tantrum, Trump. You're great at it. But that doesn't change the rules. It doesn't. So there you go.
It's a big storm. The other parts of Southern California got hit with major storms yesterday. San Diego now taking a beating. The National Weather Service says by the end of the day today, normally sunny, dry San Diego will see more than an inch of rain near the border. The lighter rain, around a half inch per day, is the forecast for Wednesday and Thursday as well.
Yeah, we're supposed to have Chip on, and Chip obviously is down in Southern California, so I'm going to reach out to him after the show and we'll just make sure he's okay. I haven't heard from him. And then hopefully if he can come on tomorrow, he can give us an update on what's going on down there.
Yeah, they're going to take a soaking. And they did recently as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember? So the ground's already saturated in an area where they don't usually get this type of weather. Yeah. As you had mentioned, country music superstar Toby Keith is dead at the age of 62. He died peacefully last night, surrounded by his family, that according to a message on his social media platforms. The singer was diagnosed with stomach cancer in 2021 and had been undergoing chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery as well. Yeah. So it's been quite a fight for him.
He had said something, I think he was interviewed last year about it, and he's like, it's really high. It goes from 0 to 60 and 62 is 0 really quickly. It was quite the battle he was fighting. Stomach cancer is no joke. From what I understand, it's extremely painful. So, yeah, that's just, I'm glad he's not in pain anymore, but 62 is way too young.
Yeah, it's sad. I hate that anyone has to go through that. Moving on to jury deliberations, back underway in the involuntary manslaughter trial of Jennifer Crumbley in Michigan. This is the mom who, had the son who shot up the school, right? The mother of Ethan Crumbley is his name, who shot and killed 4 classmates and injured 7 others at Oxford High School. This happened in November of 2021. He is now serving life in prison without parole. but now the parents are on trial, specifically the mother. And so we'll see how this goes. This is for involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I just feel like she needs to have some responsibility for this. I just do. And I really think that the message it also sends to parents whose children not only have mental health issues, because mental health issues are, everybody can be on the spectrum, let's just say, of mental health, right? Sometimes you're doing well, sometimes you're not doing so well. But you do not put a weapon into the hands of a child that is having severe mental health issues, has expressed violent tendencies, has violent drawings or anything like that. That's my problem with her and the dad, is that there were so many signs, literally him writing, "Help me," the day of the shooting, and they did nothing. So I have I have sympathy, but I have no sympathy for it. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, she said she knew that there was a problem and then admitted giving him a weapon for Christmas.
Yep, exactly.
So,
you don't do that.
Nope, not bright. This is a warning. It's a shocker that anyone has to say this.
Okay.
Apple is warning people not to wear their new virtual reality headset while driving.
No, there's so many videos, Kim. There's so many videos.
Why would you do
this? Because you could see through.
Oh,
that's
my
why.
God.
So it's like you can see the road, but also your email. I mean, people are dumb. And there's this actual, how The Simpsons is like, can tell the future. There's an episode of people wearing stupid goggles and walking across the street, checking their emails. It looks, again, I'm not knocking Apple. I know people that work at Apple that apparently worked on this technology. So I'm not knocking all of the hardworking people at Apple. But why does everything have to be so ignoring reality? What does that say about us as a society? Why is all of our effort going into things that remove us from each other? This does not seem inviting to me. If I saw somebody walk into my house with this on their face, I would not want them in my house anymore. Like, you obviously don't want to spend time with me. You obviously are just so immersed in the internet and whatever you're able to do, because you can check email, you can do all sorts of things with this, that you don't want to be with humans live in living color people in front of you. It's ridiculous. I'm not for it. I'm not for this type of technology. I don't see a need. I don't see it addressing a problem. I feel like it's creating a problem. If anybody is going to buy this, let me know. And I believe Jefferson Graham, who joins us on Thursday, actually tried this out. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of a preview of what he thought about it coming up on Thursday.
Well, as you say, the message comes after an NYU student who's from Palo Alto shot a video of himself wearing a pair of Apple Vision Pro VR goggles while driving a Tesla on autopilot. If that doesn't say tech emergency, I don't know what. The student said his goggles were set to transparency mode so he could see the road. But Apple is now warning people, don't do that. Don't drive while you're wearing the goggles. Don't.
It's the end of times, people. I swear to God.
Back to the Grammys. Ratings for the Grammy Awards are in, and they are a hit.
I told
About
you.
17 million people watched the primetime award show Sunday night. It is the largest number for the music event since 2020. The number is also a 30% increase from last year. 30% more people watched this one.
That's a lot. And it was I'm telling you, it was a good show. There was something for everyone, which I think the Grammys try to do every year, obviously. But I thought it was just a really great show. So I'm not surprised by those numbers. I think that's great. And great for Trevor Noah. I thought he did an excellent job as well as host. And it was fun.
Lastly, I thought this was an interesting story. This one's for you. So there is a man who is now facing felony charges for flying a drone over the AFC Championship game.
Apparently, I heard something about that.
Can't do that. This happened in Baltimore. The Maryland U.S. Attorney's Office says 44-year-old Matthew Hebert of Chadsford, Pennsylvania, is now facing felony charges for illegally flying a drone over M&T Bank Stadium during the Baltimore Ravens versus Kansas City Chiefs AFC Championship January 28th. They say illegally operating drones poses a significant security risk that will lead to federal charges. Temporary flight restrictions are always in place during large sporting events. You cannot do this.
No.
If convicted, Herbert faces a maximum sentence of 3 years in federal prison for knowingly operating an unregistered UAS.
So during the AFC game, I had to drop off and pick up my daughter who was shopping at the mall. And so I was listening to the game, and I remember the anchors that on the radio station that I was listening on saying, "Oh, they've paused the game because there's a drone in the sky." And the problem is they have their own stuff flying around. You know what I mean? They got cameras, they got all sorts of things. So you have to be really careful. Not only that, and it was in the middle of the game, I believe, that it happened when they made that announcement. They have flyovers. I mean, there's airspace that you have to keep eyes on. And while fun to have a drone and to get a different perspective of something like a AFC championship game, you can't do that. And you can't get away with it. Can you imagine the chaos if they didn't nip this in the bud? My God.
You couldn't. No.
Right?
So what they did, you mentioned that they stopped the game. They called it an administrative timeout.
Yeah.
And the police were able to track that drone to the area where it landed, and that is where they found Hebert, and that is where he was arrested.
Wow, interesting.
I mean, the drone has to land at some point, right? You're going to lose it.
Exactly. And I'm sure it was a good one. You know what I mean? It wasn't like one of the crap ones you get at Toys R Us or something. That probably was a really good drone. He didn't want to lose it. And maybe he wasn't, I won't give the benefit of the doubt. He's like, I have a drone. I thought I could fly it over there.
Who doesn't know that you can't fly a drone over a major sporting event? I mean, what happened if it fell on people?
Exactly.
Or if it clipped somebody or,
the football hit it and it impacted the game. Damn it.
Possibly do that. I mean,
Exactly.
no.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that it's a dumb move, but I could see him pleading ignorance and just being like, I don't know. I had a drone and I wanted to see the game. I mean, how do you prove, because there should be signage? I don't know the rules of this. It seems obvious to me you can't do it, but I can bet his lawyers are going to be like, there's no signage. There's nothing to say that he can't do it. So I don't know.
Well, this report is sponsored by you, which means we rely on you to keep us in our 49ers gear.
Exactly.
You can find us on thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com, the Patreon, the PayPal link, all there for you to check out. And thank you for all the ways you support the show. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Go Niners, go Niners, go Niners. Okay, just because we're talking about football, I'm going to play you the video real quickly. And this is of the 11-year-old boy. Now, sometimes I don't like these things because I'm superstitious a bit, but apparently there is a little boy, 11-year-old Las Vegas sports reporter, Jeremiah Fennell. And I'm going to play you the little bit of video. He was being interviewed by ABC. Here we go.
49ers
Oh, come on.
fans, Blue Man Group, and Sourdough Sam. Super Bowl must be near.
I mean, honestly, I just think it's going to be a great, eventful game. I mean, I've been here interviewing both sides. The Chiefs and the 49ers.
11-year-old Jeremiah might just be one of the smartest people at this opening night of Super Bowl week. He's already interviewing the big stars. He surely knows Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Trent Williams, but he might not know what Kyle Juszczyk used to eat before a game.
Back in the day, I used to do some weird things, steak, spaghetti, sweet potatoes, eggs, this kind of thing. Now, honestly, depends on what time the game is, but I keep it pretty standard.
Or that many of the players like to play a lot of video games.
Yeah, I like Madden. I play Madden. If I got some downtime, I'll play a few games.
But if pushed to really evaluate this game, he knows what's up.
They're both hungry. They're both really great rosters, and they're both healthy, which is the most important part in football. So I really just think it's going to be a really great game.
Sadly, even now, during Super Bowl week, Dallas Cowboys fan Super Cowboy won't admit who's the real team.
Deep down going for the Niners? Absolutely not.
But that's okay, as long as smart minds like Jeremiah prevail. Little man will pick a winner if pushed to do so.
I mean, if I had to choose, if you're making me choose, I'd have to pick the Niners.
Well-
But I'm a Raider, and if I'll be violating Raider Nation law if I root for the Chiefs under any circumstances. But that's only if I had to pick.
From a lively opening night in Vegas, J.R. Stone,
Oh.
ABC 7 News.
I wish I was there. We were out last night and my husband showed me the phone. He's like, it's opening night. We missed opening. I didn't even know that was happening. I didn't even know that was a thing. That They were televising it. You know what I mean? So, so cool. And that little kid, Jeremiah, he's a smart one. So what a gig. And of course he chose my Niners. So knock on wood. He's right. Okay. Let's just hope that he's right.
So
All right.
what do you do for the Super Bowl? What's your big thing
Nothing.
that you guys do?
I sit here. I was.
Do you have a big party? Do you have people
So,
over? Do you get
parents
together
will
with
come
your
over.
parents?
Yeah, my parents. I told my parents they can come over. I mean, anybody can come over. We're just not going anywhere. Does that make sense? Like I sit on my couch from where we have won the other games, and that's superstitious. I'm like, I'm not going in. My parents invited me. They're like, you want to come over to watch the Super Bowl? I said no. I'm like, you can come over here, but I'm not going over there. We've won when I sit my butt on this couch in this spot. So we're staying home. I saw this article yesterday. They're like, throw a Super Bowl party that'll have people wanting you to throw it every year. One, no. Two, I mean, they had like all these different stations, like to put black under your eyes. And I'm like, listen, have some snacks that you could serve yourself. I might make some chili or something, like a little bit more sustenance. But I'm watching the game. I am not serving people. I am not a bartender. There's the booze. There's the beer. Here's my seat. Leave me alone. My team is playing. Like, I'm not one of those people that needs to have the big old hoopla and all that kind of crap. Like, you could bring over food, finger foods, and usually we have a big spread if we have a lot of people come over. But no, I'm not entertaining.
You're not running around replenishing the chip bowl during the game. No.
Oh, no. Like the last game, what did we make? So I made those bacon cracker things, the candy crackers things that I made last week for Friday food. So I made those. Oh, and then we made jambalaya. But we had it done at the start of the game. Like once kickoff happened, I looked at my in-laws and my parents. I'm like, it's on the stove. There's bowls and forks. Help yourself when you're hungry, but I'm watching the game. And my mother-in-law's like, oh, so we're not expecting service. I was like, no, there's going to be no service here. She was just joking. But yeah, I'm like, no, I am locked in. Do not bother me. And then I get really upset. Like I was not very happy in the first half of the game last time. So then I was kind of getting aggravated. Like James was like, I got to go down there. And I was like, you need to just shut up. I'm like, you are just bothering me to no end right now. So I'm getting a bit heated in the last minute.
He got to go down where? To the stadium?
Yeah, he wanted to go to the stadium. He's like, they need me. And I was like, they do not need you. You need to sit your ass on the couch.
They need me.
And stop already, okay? Yeah, it was
You're
really
critical to the process. You're critical.
It's so stressful. You don't want to watch the game with me. And if we're not doing well, you just don't want to be sitting next to me. I am that kind of person.
Funny.
So it's a little bit stressful, Kim McAllister. Just a little bit. I'm hoping it's a good game. I'm hoping we win. Fingers crossed.
I haven't checked this out, but SF Tesla says Pete's is offering free coffee for 49ers fans February 10th and 11th. You have to wear a 49ers theme to qualify. I don't know if that's true. We might just be sending people into Pete's wearing their 49ers gear. I'm not sure.
I think there's a Pete's near me. I don't really go to Pete's. And just between us, I don't really like Pete's coffee. I will say this, I don't like Pete's coffee that's been delivered to KGO. Remember we had it at KGO and I didn't like it. It tasted burnt, but maybe it was the blend. I don't know. But hell, that's pretty good. I'll be wearing Niner gear all weekend.
Anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So, any freebies people want to give me for wearing my Niner gear, awesome. But yeah, I hope I'm happy on Monday, but that's a ways away. It's only Tuesday. You know what I mean? Let's just enjoy the experience of having at least our team in the game, in the big game, and love it that way. So fingers crossed. All right. Let's talk now about more serious issues. And this, of course, is the border bill. Did you hear this? The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has called on Congress to pass that bipartisan immigration and defense deal. So again, this border bill, as you likely know by now, it not only deals with the border, but Ukraine and funding for all sorts of things in Israel. And basically, the Chamber of Commerce says it's pleased to see desperately needed border security, asylum, and immigration reforms included in the supplemental funding proposal before the U.S. Senate. The economic disruption and human suffering wrought by our border crisis has become so severe that Congress cannot afford to ignore these problems any longer. So the border deal, it's not going to please everybody. But this whole narrative by the GOP that Congress doesn't need to do anything, that President Biden just needs to enforce the laws, isn't 100% true. Are there things that Biden could do? I guess. He has pledged to, quote unquote, shut down the border if given the authority to do so. But again, there's no door. There's no doorbell. There's no doorman, right? Like it's a border. So the Senate proposal, if passed, which is likely not going to happen, would give him just that. It would create a border emergency that allows security, yes, to remove from and prohibit in whole or from foreign nationals who enter at port of entries. The authority would be optional if the 7-day average of border encounters is between 4,000 and 5,000 a day, and mandatory if it exceeds 5,000. That's the sticking point for a lot of these Republicans. They don't like that number. They don't like the 5,000. But again, it's not like it's what we were talking about last week with Langford. There's not going to be anybody with a clicker. There's not going to be anybody there that's like, okay, we've hit 4,999 and it stops, right? It's the fact that they know that some people can come in and some people are not allowed in. You have to have some sort of detail on that. And that's not what any of these Republicans want to do. I think they're picking and choosing to have an issue with that number. Speaker Mike Johnson has declared the deal dead on arrival. He said, I've seen enough. The bill is even worse than we expected and won't come close to ending the border catastrophe that the president has created. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise also vowed the bill would not receive a vote in the lower chamber. And of course, President Trump doesn't want anything to happen on the border crisis. But how do you think this is going to impact the presidential election? How do you think it's going to impact? Now, Nikki Haley has come out. She was on with Fox News' Neil Cavuto, and they were obviously talking about a bunch of things. But Cavuto said, I do want your take on this border bill, because while Trump has said that he does not want any Republicans to vote for it, that's political. Okay, so let me play a little bit here. This is, again, Neil Cavuto, Fox News, asking Nikki Haley about her feelings regarding this bill.
Is such that it doesn't favor you, and it's looking like an impossible battle. And, smarter, cooler heads maybe start saying, Trump, Haley, that makes sense. That's a winning ticket. What do you say?
This is what I'll tell you, Neil. I'll let you know. Maybe I'll give you a tip or a first heads up when I pick my vice president. Yeah. How about that?
I had a feeling you were going to answer that way. Well, I still have you, Ambassador. I do want to get your take on this border bill. Donald Trump has famously said that Republicans who vote for it should be ashamed of themselves. We're going to have Senator Langford with us shortly, who's amazed at the response it's getting and wondering if maybe that could be because Republicans might feel that they're in a better position not to have something like this, that it could help Joe Biden and it wouldn't help them. How are you on this?
There's two things going on here, and we have to speak hard truths. First of all, everybody's tired of a do-nothing Congress. I mean, can they do anything? Because we've seen nothing out of Republicans or Democrats. They have an inability to get anything done. The second thing is you can't have Trump sitting there saying, don't do anything until the election. We have a completely open border. America's acting like it's September 10th, and we better remember what September 12th felt like, because it only takes one person to cross that border to create a 9/11 moment. We need this fixed now. We need congressional members to stay in D.C. and not leave until they figure this out.
Does that mean this measure? Does that mean this measure? Ambassador, I know you said it has warts and some issues like that, but if this is all it's going to be, with maybe slight variations, better this than nothing?
Well, I think, first of all, we do know what Congress does. When they pass something, then they wipe their hands and say, we already did that. If they're going to do this, they need to do it right. The one part I like about this bill is I like that it strengthens the asylum requirements. That's very important. We haven't had that, and we need that. The part that I don't like about the bill, it doesn't require remain in Mexico, which is very important at keeping them from coming on U.S. soil in the first place. And I don't like the 5,000 limit. We don't want anybody to come in. We can't say only when 5,000 people have crossed the border. They need to stay there. They need to figure this out. They need to adjust it, amend it in any way that they can. And they should not leave D.C. until they get us a border bill. And no, we are not waiting until the general election to do this. And it's irresponsible to say that Congress has to wait until a general election because Trump is worried that he's going to lose. There's a lot of reasons we got to worry Trump's going to lose, but you don't sacrifice national security to do it.
There you go. And that, I think, should be played by Nikki Haley's campaign over and over and over. If it's a crisis, treat it as a crisis. If you're talking about national security, then take care of national security. If you truly feel that way. If you truly feel that way. If you don't, then you can kick the can down the road. Right? I mean, that's they're talking out of both mouths. Oh my God, it's a crisis. Biden's not doing anything. Okay, Biden's like, okay, let's do this. No, we're not going to do that. It's like, well, wait a minute. Something is better than nothing. If you have, think of it like floodwaters, right? I mean, that's what they always try to call the migrants anyway. You don't want to put up any sort of dam. You don't want to put up any sort of restrictions because it's not perfect. Is that what you're saying? Because if that's what you're saying, then say it. Just say, we don't want anything unless it's perfect, because you are letting progress, you are sacrificing progress for the sake of perfection. Nothing is. And again, John, I love your comments. Nobody has read the 700-page bill. And anybody that has said they have either was on it or is full of crap. It is so long that they don't even know what's in it. And then when when Republicans that were on this bipartisan committee to come up with the details of this bill, explain what's in the bill, they don't like it. So stop acting like it's a crisis then, because you're not acting like it's a crisis. That's the problem. And exactly, Kevin. Remember Obamacare? And Obama even said it himself. And no, is it perfect? No. Can we fix it? Are there things that can be improved? Of course, but work with me. And that's what Republicans refuse to do in a presidential year. And so they have only themselves to blame for this. They can get so much more, but they don't want to. Politically, they don't want to. And it's BS. Stop saying it then.
Even some of the people who negotiated this bill and spent months and months hammering out this deal, right, who believe in it, are now saying they're not going to vote for it because they're Republicans and they don't want any success in an election year.
Yeah.
They negotiated the deal. They agreed to the deal as it is now. And now they're like, yeah, I'm not voting for that. Yeah.
They're full of crap. They're full of crap. And I'll compare it back to the Obamacare, right? Republicans, repeal, replace, never had an idea on how to do that. They had zero idea on how to make healthcare work better in this country. All they knew was they weren't going to give Obama the win. And so, and I'll say this, has Biden done enough about the border? No. Is it okay that all these people are streaming in and we don't know who they are? We don't know if they have valid claims for asylum? No. Something needs to be done. But you don't come forward and be like, it's either this or nothing. No, you work on it. What is so wrong about the bill? The $5,000 person limit? There has to be something. I mean, we have to work in reality because, again, there is no door. There has to be a system in place. Some people are allowed to stay. Now, Nikki Haley's comment about not requiring them stay in Mexico, you can't force another country to do something for you, right? You can't do that unless you're going to help aid them. Are we going to give funds to develop something in Mexico for these people to stay? You can't just be like, not my problem. That, again, isn't solving the problem. It's just being like, I don't want to deal with it. That's the problem, people. Is we just don't want to really work on it, especially in a presidential year. And then there's the whole thing with Mayorkas, right? The fact that they say no to a bill because Biden's not and Mayorkas are not doing enough about immigration and the border, and then still say, okay, well, we're gonna impeach Mayorkas is a bit much. So here is Congressman Warren Davidson, again, talking about this bipartisan border bill. And let me see if I have this queued up properly. But again, these are Republicans talking about it. This is the problem, is that they can't get it together.
Except what the Senate sent us. They certainly didn't feel any pressure to take our bill. So if they pass something that addresses our border, maybe we could conference the two. But frankly, their solution basically says, just go ahead and raise the standard to nearly 2 million illegals per year. And fundamentally, nothing about the emergency authority granted by the bill or imposed by the bill is really forces the president to even take action. He didn't accidentally implement these policies. He did it on purpose. So frankly, I think that the border is the way he designed it to be.
I just want to be clear now, and you're quite right on all of the above. The 2 million and that minimum that we could still see for
the 2 million is if you let 5,000 people in. That's where they're getting it. In a year, it'd be like 1.8 or something.
5,000 a day. That's built in as a baseline. There are a lot of variables to that. But, you talk about 2 million who come in versus the 8 million coming in right now. It's a start. Let's say the Republican nominee, if it's Donald Trump wins, that's the win behind his back, and he can slap the more serious measures that you want to see when he becomes president.
Well, I certainly hope he does. But the idea that we're going to lock into law, the law today says none. So why would we concede to make it 2 million? The answer is we don't accept illegal immigration.
8 million, right? The reality is it's 8 million, and the law doesn't stipulate that either. And I agree with what you're saying on the numbers that you're looking at. But better to start something and try to force a ceiling on this than one that just goes up, 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 up.
No, see, your solution, that's why Republican politics is like NASCAR. Everyone gets in the race and just starts turning left. Yeah. When are we going to do what we said we would do?
That's actually a pretty good line.
You create a giant problem, make it 8 million people, and you say, oh, such benevolence from the Democrats. They're going to make it 2 million. No, it's a terrible plan. We should lock in 0. That's the right standard.
But if we don't lock in anything, and I understand what you're saying,
Neil,
your colleagues have been saying that the president has, with just the flick of a pen, he can undo a lot of this, but he's not undoing a lot of it, and he's not undoing a lot of the things that you said happened under Donald Trump. This forces him into some position, weak as maybe you argue it is, and sets the stage for a Republican president, if that's the case, who comes in and then goes even further. And that gap then, sir, you don't have anything getting done.
Yep.
Oh, well, what's going to happen is Mayorkas is going to be impeached. He's earned it. He's violating the law. He's refusing to enforce it.
He is not going to be impeached.
He is going to be impeached by the House.
I know that, but
we can't control the Senate.
He's not going to lose his job.
Well, maybe not, but he should, and so should Joe Biden. And so all we can do is make the case to the American people and ask them to send reinforcements.
So, but again, the thing that frustrates me about that interview is the 0. It's the 0, as if that's in any way, shape, or form possible, because they don't mean 0. They don't actually mean 0. They're only looking at the southern border. They're not looking at the northern border, right? They're not doing any of these things. And so it's a dog whistle to a lot of people that just don't want more brown people in this country, right? But also, we don't want 0 because we still want to exploit some of these brown people that work on our farms and work in some of our construction companies and work in some of our businesses under the table for cheap labor. But then we're going to vilify them when we go up on national television. It can't be 0. Should we know every single person that comes into this country? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's like a bouncer at a bar. Someone might get in with a fake ID. It's going to happen. It's never going to be 0. And if that's what they're going for, then they're being disingenuous. I know I'm glitchy. I apologize. My wife has been crappy since the power outage.
I wasn't sure if it was me or if it was you. I was like, is it me? Am I glitchy or are you glitchy?
No, it's me. It's me. I apologize. Hopefully you can still hear me. But yeah, I just feel they're being completely disingenuous by saying it needs to be a perfect bill. It needs to be absolutely 0 or we have no deal. They're full of crap. Again, screaming about a problem, having 0 idea for a realistic solution. So I don't know. Am I wrong here? I really don't get it. Randy says the largest source of illegal immigration is visa overstays. Does the bill address that? Great question. Vilma says they're not looking at people that overstay their visas. I think that this bill mainly focuses on getting the infrastructure in place at the border for when people enter at ports of entry. That's what I think most of it has to deal with. And that's the first issue that we need to deal with. Overstaying visas, yes. Understanding where people go when they enter this country, and we document them and then let them go. We need to do something about that. Do we need to have stricter rules regarding asylum? Should it just be, the threat of life versus economic asylum? Okay. We can have that conversation. I'm not opposed to that conversation. Randy says this is all so much BS. A group of us off the chat here could come up with something regarding immigration in less time than months. Not everybody gets what they want. Compromise and Congress are oxymorons, unfortunately. You know what I mean? It's like, and especially in a presidential year, because everyone's going to be like, oh, Biden's just going to use this to get reelected. Biden can use a lot of things to get reelected. I disagree with Nikki Haley. Democrats have gotten a ton of stuff done. The CHIPS Act, all sorts of things. If anything has been like impeding progress, and this is my politics showing, it is Republicans. They vote against everything. They don't want to give anybody a win, even though there's a problem that needs to be solved, in my opinion. SF Tesla, there's a new bill that aims to put ankle bracelets on immigrants. The idea is to make it less catch and release. Ooh, I didn't see that. Ankle bracelet screams to me criminal. That's what it screams to me. And so if we want people to be, while they're here, not dependent on social services and, them not being able to get a job or something like that, I don't know how that would feel. Maybe. But we can, again, have that conversation.
If you're here illegally, are you a criminal?
But if they give you an ankle bracelet, then you're not here illegally. We know who you are, and we know that you're here, right? I mean, if you're sneaking in, you're not getting an ankle bracelet, right? Right. So, yeah. I don't think that we should do catch and release. I don't. I think that there is a problem with that. It is a problem. It is a problem that someone comes in. I don't know what information we get off them, but we get some sort of information. We give them a court date and we're like, bye. I do have a problem with that. Okay. I do think that is an issue that can be addressed. How we address it, that's a conversation we need to have. Is it ankle bracelets? I don't know. Should we know where they're going? Should we know who those people are? Should we know where the sponsor family lives? I don't know.
That would be a hell of a lot of ankle bracelets. Who's going to monitor all that? That's
unrealistic.
unrealistic.
You know that you have to pay for your ankle bracelet when you get one?
No, really?
I just saw, I don't know how many criminals or people
how much is
overall
it?
that we have. Apparently it's like, I don't know, $30 a day, or it's expensive.
Oh.
I didn't realize this. This is just a total tangent. You have to pay, apparently, for your ankle monitor. And it can vary of how much you pay per month.
Sure.
But it's like probably a couple $100 at least a month.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's just another way of like hurting people when they're down, in all honesty. But it does also factor in, where they're going to pay for it. The person that commits the crime has to pay for it. Luis, the irony, the same people who are demanding absolute perfection when it comes to border security are the same people who write off mass shootings and thousands of deaths at the price of freedom. Oh, I know. Isn't that ironic, Luis? It's like, well, we can only do so much. It's politics. It's the dirtiest and it's the most upsetting part of politics. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with this. Again, Republicans are divided. They may, we can have all different types of people going on Fox News with Neil Cavuto, but when Neil Cavuto is a voice of reason regarding this bill, and he's like, look, you guys, get it together. We can get something done. I think we should do it. It's a step in the right direction. Nothing's been done since the 80s. Yeah. All right. So we need to do something. Things have changed. Our economy has changed. How we militarize the border has changed. It's no win. It's really no win. Brian, politics in the USA used to be different sides, different thoughts, and different sides. Now it's all out war. Yeah, different. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's become more of a sport than actually trying to get progress done in this country, sadly. It used to be, and I don't want to blame everything on Trump, okay? But I do think that he is emblematic of the problem with politics right now, right? He's emblematic of, I'm not saying that there weren't, obviously Ronald Reagan, there was assassination attempts on Ronald Reagan. JFK was murdered, right? I mean, I'm not saying things have always been hunky-dory with politics and presidents and things like that, but it does seem that with the advent of social media and the internet, the ability to threaten somebody, right? To spread nonsense that emboldens people to take violent action. I mean, Nikki Haley is requesting Secret Service protection. Now, I don't know how common or not common that is, but she wants it because she feels like her family's in danger. She's been swatted, which is when cops are falsely sent to her home.
Well, when you're going up against Trump, you have all these very, very angry individuals. These are the same people that, have gone after judges and have gone after, everyone involved in the elections cases. And so I would say that there's some need there because there's some real scary people around.
Yeah. And they take it so personally. It becomes their identity, right? Yeah. It becomes their identity that for instance, they have to, defend Donald Trump. They have to sacrifice their own freedom. How many people are in prison right now because of January 6th, right? I mean, think about, even though Trump likes to call them hostages, which is just mind-blowing. But again, people have committed crimes for him. Why? He could give a rat's ass about you. Yeah. He doesn't think about you. If you think Donald Trump is losing an ounce of sleep because people are in prison, you know why he's losing sleep because of those people? Because they're not able to vote for him anymore. But if you think that he is dedicating himself for some, altruistic reason for these people, you're nuts. You're nuts. He doesn't care about them at all. He only cares about himself. Okay, so Phineas, conspiracy theorist over here, and I'm saying that with all the love, Phineas. Maybe Nikki Haley self-swatted. Okay, I don't want to go into the self-swatting. I don't want to go into, that kind of reminds me of Nancy Pelosi's husband kind of was in a love affair with a guy that beat him with a hammer. I don't think so.
Weird conspiracy stuff or what?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you didn't hear that? Because he was in his underwear at the time of the attack that it was crazy. And Phineas goes on, don't you think Nikki Haley is capable of lying and saying she was threatened to get more press? Perhaps, but is it hard to imagine? I mean, I'm not surprised. Are you surprised? After January 6th, after all of the wackadoos that have come out of the freaking closet to do and say the most awful things? I mean, they called for Mike Pence's head. They wanted to kill Nancy Pelosi. No, I'm not surprised that Nikki Haley is getting death threats. I'm not surprised that Nikki Haley is getting swatted. Is it a lie or a truth? You know what? I'd put my money on truth. But yes, of course, Phineas, of course she could lie about it to get whatever attention she wants to. I don't know if she's going to get the Secret Service. I don't have the update on that, but I'd give it to her. I see absolutely no problem with protecting people that are trying to run against Donald Trump because he has people that are just infatuated with him for some weird, crazy reason.
Interesting to me, they keep trying to push Haley into that vice presidential spot.
I know. Just shut up.
That's where the women go, you know?
We'll give you this.
It has me comparing, though, in my head, Kamala Harris to Nikki Haley.
Okay. And?
I don't know. I mean, I don't agree with Nikki Haley on the issue of women's reproductive rights. So there, she doesn't have my vote.
Well, she would never have my vote, no.
Is she better than Trump? 100,000%.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 100. Yes, because she's not Trump, because Trump has such a hold on people's mental health, for lack of a better term. So yeah, in that way, I don't think that Nikki Haley is going to be able to drum up the cultish behavior that Donald Trump has. So that makes her a million times better. Absolutely.
What do you think you like Kamala Harris better than Nikki Haley? Like on a personal level?
As like if it's VP to VP?
Yeah. Well, just as, politician to politician.
Well, I would never vote for Nikki Haley over Kamala Harris.
I will say, though, there's something more likable about her.
Ew, really?
Just on a personal level.
I feel like I think
am I buying into it all? I don't know.
I think you're kind of buying into the criticism of Kamala Harris. People just don't like her. Yeah. For some reason, anytime I covered her when I was a reporter, she had her controversies, both with, as a prosecutor or the DA, all that sort of thing, attorney general, right? She was the attorney general. But again, anytime you're in a position of power, you're going to get criticized. Yeah. I think that Kamala Harris has a thick enough skin. It's a mile deep. I don't think anyone's bothering Kamala Harris. She's freaking vice president, people. And you know what? If Republicans are scared of a president, Kamala Harris, that makes me happy. Yeah. Sorry. What are you so afraid of? Yeah. You know what I mean? Nikki Haley, if it's going to be a Republican, yes, over Trump, hands down. But I wouldn't ever vote for her.
She thinks well on her feet.
Nikki Haley?
Yep.
Unless you ask her about slavery and the Civil War.
But come to find out, and I didn't know this, being from the West Coast, I didn't know that's a standard answer from people in those states, in those southern states.
Oh, what?
That it's states' rights, and it's, we don't want to talk about slavery.
It's a terrible answer from states.
I didn't realize that. I'm over here in my California bubble. I thought, what the hell is she talking about?
It's a terrible answer. Because it's the wrong answer, because it's people that want to protect things like the Confederate flag, which knock yourself out. Fly the loser flag if you want to. Fine. Project it to everybody, but stop acting like this is heritage when it's really racism. I see through that BS, and you're not going to sell me a bill of goods. Oh, this is heritage. It has nothing to do with the Confederacy and slavery. Right. You're full of shit. No. No. But Nikki Haley's better than Donald Trump. If I have to choose one, if I have to choose between those two, Trump or Haley, done.
Absolutely agree with you there.
Louis says, sorry, don't agree with Nikki Haley's politics, but she comes across as more likable than Kay Harris. In what way? I mean, I want specifics. Is it the laughing that Kamala Harris does? People don't like her laugh. Other than that, what is she? She's vice president. Did she knock it out? I don't know a vice president that I have adored. I mean, come on now. Harris doesn't have charisma. With what? With what? I mean, again, I feel like it's just headlines and things like, Vilma, the cackle. It's so superficial. It is so superficial. And it's a narrative being pushed by the GOP. I mean, name something that Kamala Harris has done as vice president. That's not the Biden administration. I mean, that's what she does.
There isn't anything.
There isn't anything. So what you're saying is you just don't like her because, in my opinion, you're kind of buying into this, she's not likable narrative from the GOP. What has she done? Nothing, in my opinion. Nothing that you could specifically point to. Now, if you don't like her laugh, if you don't like her face, okay, but then say that. Just be honest about that. I don't like her laugh. Okay,
and I would argue. It's funny. I just read for book club the book Lessons in Chemistry.
I love that show. I didn't read the book.
The show is great. The book is great. And one of the questions that came up at book club is how things are different for women.
Oh yeah.
And I would say that politics is very similar to. I don't know how things were different for women in the 50s and how we're judged differently still to this day, and how Kamala Harris is judged differently and Nikki Haley is judged differently. Now, you want a president to be likable, right? And with men, they say, who would you drink a beer with?
Ugh, I hate
Maybe they don't say that with women, but she has to, have a certain look, and she has to have a certain way of speaking, and she has to have a certain way of being liked and pleasing everyone and being, all things to all people and the perfect woman and whatever. Right. And if you don't laugh the right way, or, you're too strong, or you come off as a bitch, then that's not good enough. And so women are judged differently. And because of that, I think it's going to be a heck of a long time until we have our first female president, because we're held to different standards.
Oh, and we get vilified for everything. Things that men do. They say that women talk more than men. Men talk more than women. The whole vocal fry. I remember when that was coming out, it was all, I listen to the radio all the time. There's so many men that have vocal fry, but they don't get criticized for that. Women, just like you said, Kim, women have to be everything and then also not offend, right? Screw that. You know what I mean? Like I get criticized on this show. I got criticized on KGO. You have to have a very thick skin if you're going to be in the public eye, whether on this level or at the Kamala Harris level. And Kamala Harris did not get to where she is by having thin skin. I will say, if anybody has the thinnest of skin, it's old dear Trump over there. The thinnest skin. paper freaking thin. You cannot criticize him or he cries about it. You know what I mean? So it's just a bit rich. I think Kamala Harris is going to be fine. It's just ridiculous. All right.
How sad that this is our threshold, Spencer. He says, I don't want the president to be likable. I want someone who's not psycho. Really?
Exactly.
Like, that's our threshold? Someone who's not psycho? How sad that that's where we are. And it's true. You're right, Spencer.
Yeah.
But like, that's really used to be like the best of the best. You know, these are this is our top person in America. And now we're just like, could we just get someone who's not psycho?
Yeah.
That's like saying when
undermines our
you
democracy.
find a husband, you know, I just want someone who has a job with good teeth. Like, really, that's your threshold?
That's the bar. That's how low we are. There was
Come
somebody
on.
that posted, I forget who it was on X the other day. Have you ever heard the term, that's my Roman Empire? Do you remember that whole thing?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So there was this thing that came out a couple of months ago where women were asking their partners, their male partners, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? And they were finding that men think about it often. Like
men think about it often?
Men think about the Roman Empire often. I'll also admit, I think about the fall of Rome, all those sorts of things. And if you ask men, how often do you think about it? They're like, I don't know, a couple times a week. So it became this joke. So whenever you think about something a lot, it's called your Roman Empire.
Okay.
And I will tell you, the Howard Dean scream is my political Roman Empire. Because remember, Howard Dean was doing well in his presidential campaign until he went on stage and went, yeah! And he lost. He lost all kinds of votes. And dropped out because he screamed, and somebody had posted that.
Well, and
as
also
the bar.
it was the whole screaming, like psycho-looking cackle, weird voice cracking strangeness.
Remember that was it, and you could be out of the race for that.
That was it. One non-presidential move, and you're out. Yeah.
That's my political Roman Empire. That's my presidential election Roman Empire is Howard Dean screaming and then being out of the race. And now you can undermine our elections. You can be convicted civilly of sexual assault. It's okay. People are just bashing Trump. I mean, my God, it's crazy right now. It's John, I have a scream speech. You win for comment of the day. But I'm just saying, like, politics is so crazy right now. We can't seem to get crap done. But we'll see what happens in November. I'm concerned. But first, Trump has to be on the ballot. He has to be able to be president, and he has to be not in prison. So, you know, a lot of things can happen between now and then, and we shall see what does and what doesn't happen. So, thank you guys for indulging me in that little bit of a rant about politics. Okay, let's do some headlines. And then I want to discuss a couple of things. What do I want to do? You know, I want to do the meta story actually next. So, if you haven't heard, Meta, Facebook, they have an oversight board, okay? And they had to make a decision about this video. Now, this video was posted in 2023. The original video actually was in 2022, but this manipulated video came out in 2023. I've been trying to find it. If anybody can find it, send it to me. I can't find this exact one. But it's been edited to make Biden appear inappropriate, okay? Meta knows this. Everyone else knows this. But Meta made a decision to keep it on its platforms. I will tell you why. And you tell me, isn't this part of the problem? Is that social media companies allow, because their policies allow it, for nonsense to come through. So whether it's Meta or whether it's X or whatever that people are on, if something has been deemed fake, do you think it should be allowed to stay on the platform? Let me know in the comments. Also, you guys, click the thumbs up button to show your support for the show. We also have the raffle going. It's a fundraising raffle. You can buy raffle tickets for $10 a piece. And so if you want to win, and here's your prizes. Let me get the picture of it. There it is. So you can win either the cooler on the left. It's a 49ers cooler, or 2 vintage KGO wine glasses. And thank you to Kay in Santa Rosa. And I'm Sherry. Is it Sherry? Kim? Brain farting on who gave us the wine glasses. Kim, do you hear me?
I have to look.
I'm sorry. I have it in the comments, but it is Candace. I knew it was
Candace.
I apologize. Candace in Sebastopol.
Yeah.
Kay in Santa Rosa gave us the cooler. Candace in Sebastopol gave us the wine glasses. $10 a ticket. You have to specify when you go to PayPal what you want your raffle ticket to go to. If you want to put it in both, then say that. It's $10 per ticket, so $20. And all of the money goes to fundraise for the show because we're 100% crowdfunded. So again, go to paypal.com. Just click the send button and then the email address to send the raffle tickets to. Put raffle and put what you want your raffle ticket to go towards. And the email is the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. The Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. We really, really do appreciate you guys. It's just a fun way to fundraise for the show because we are 100% crowdfunded. So thank you.
Now, I thought there were 4 wine glasses, but when I started opening up the newspaper, they were just really well packed, and there's only 2.
There you go. Two is enough, and they're vintage. These are old school KPO wine glasses. So if you are a lover of all things old school media, you'll definitely want your hands on those. All right, let's do some headlines, and then we'll talk meta next.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, let's go back to Trump, because a federal appeals court is denying former President Trump's claim of immunity in his 2020 election interference case. A Washington, D.C. appeals court today rejecting the argument that Trump was immune from criminal prosecution because he was acting as president at the time. A Trump campaign spokesperson says this ruling will be appealed.
Yeah, Pippin says, I hope the Supreme Court does not take it up. They could stay out of it. If they rule in Trump's favor, it will undermine their power. I don't see how the U.S. Supreme Court can rule against. I really don't. I mean, they could not take it up, but I think that even if they do, there's no way they're going to say that Trump, as president, is above the law. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
House Republicans are preparing to vote to impeach the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas today.
Ooh, sexy voice over here.
Hello and good morning, Alejandro Mayorkas. Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters ahead of the vote that Mayorkas engaged in a complete dereliction of duty in his handling of the southern border. It is unclear if Republicans have enough votes to pass the resolution given their razor-thin majority in the House. We'll see how that flies. GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley, as you were just mentioning, Nikki Medoro, is asking for Secret Service protection after receiving threats. Haley told the Wall Street Journal yesterday, following a campaign event in her home state of South Carolina, she's had multiple issues going on.
Yeah.
The former governor and UN ambassador said it won't derail her bid, all of these threats, to win the Republican presidential nomination. Golf superstar Tiger Woods teasing a possible PGA tournament appearance. In a social media post today, the 15-time major champion included a close-up picture of his face along with a caption, "The vision remains the same, 2/12/24. The date falls during the week of the Genesis Invitational at Riviera Country Club in Los Angeles. So we'll see if something is coming from him. We don't know if that is the case or not.
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, part of me would love to see him come back and succeed, but another part of me is like, do I really care that much? I mean, of all the stuff he's had, I don't know. The state of California is on the verge of now getting federal support to help communities recover from these powerful storms. President Biden spoke with Governor Gavin Newsom and the mayor of Los Angeles yesterday, promising to send more resources as soon as they're requested. He said first responders are undergoing a hell of an operation amid catastrophe, flash flooding. Parts of Los Angeles County have already been drenched in more than 10 inches of rain since Sunday, with the downtown area receiving 75% of the yearly average since just January 1st.
Crazy.
8 Southern California counties are under a state of emergency.
Yeah.
So.
And again, I'm going to try, Chip normally comes on with us now on Wednesdays. So I'll reach out to him after the show today, see how he's doing and seeing if he can even come on. I mean, I haven't heard, usually I would hear from him if something was bad happening. Mm-hmm. So fingers crossed that everything's okay for him down there.
The storm is triggering a consumer alert. The California Attorney General reminds everyone price gouging during a state of emergency is illegal. It includes housing, gas, food, and other essential supplies. Rob Bonta urging residents stay safe and listen to guidance from local officials, especially when traveling. Several gas stations are out of service, either from power outages or because rain has shut down the pumps. So, also, yesterday we had someone die from the storm with a tree coming down on a home in Ben Lomond, or Boulder Creek, somewhere in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Now, the death toll is rising as the atmospheric river leaves a trail of damage. 3 men died Sunday in Northern California, all from fallen trees. One got trapped in his Santa Cruz County home. That's the one we mentioned. The other 2 were crushed in their backyards in Sacramento and Sutter counties. That's where a 5-year-old girl barely escaped the same fate when a tree crashed onto a house, landing within inches of her on the couch. Can you imagine how scary? Man, awful. I think Nikki's frozen in time. I'm not sure. It seems like it. You're very still over there. Yeah, that's what I thought. That is what I thought. Well, more than 156,000 Californians are again waking up this morning without any power. It's the flashing, no flashing light. It's dead. Crews have been working nonstop to restore service. Most of the storm outages from Sunday in the northern part of the state and along the central coast. PG&E says one of the top 3 most damaging days ever came on Sunday, with several counties pummeled by winds topping 90 miles an hour. Some pretty fierce winds. The National Weather Service upgraded the storm to a bomb cyclone after trees took out dozens of power lines and fell on top of homes and cars. So it's a pretty dangerous situation. A man who drowned in the lake outside SoFi Stadium has now been identified. It turns out he's a 19-year-old. His body was recovered last Friday, and authorities believe that he is from Chula Vista. They went to the artificial lake when a concert was happening inside the stadium. It's the second time someone has drowned in that lake, which is about 15 feet deep. The last drowning happened in July of 2022. So sad situation there. There is an evacuation warning in place for the Upper Crest neighborhood in Culver City. The continuing rainfall has increased the risk of mudslide in this area. Mud flows have already been reported behind 2 homes. An emergency shelter is open as well in that city. So it's a dangerous situation there. We're still seeing the rain coming down hard in parts of Southern California, so we're not out of trouble yet. UCSF Health reportedly paying $100 million to buy St. Mary's Medical Center and St. Francis Memorial Hospital by next month. Once the deal closes, UCSF will add 2 emergency rooms and 500 beds to its current 1,200. The 2 facilities will no longer be affiliated with the Catholic Church, but instead with the University of California. Have you ever used DocuSign if you have to sign a document and get your signature to someone quickly? Well, DocuSign's suitors are reportedly getting cold feet. Reuters reporting the private equity firm competing to buy the company has been unable to agree on a price. DocuSign, they say, has a market of $11 billion. Apparently it's for sale and
I thought that they were going to be a really good investment because so many people, especially during COVID, right? You need to sign paperwork. I just did some stuff with my tax person, and they just send you stuff, and it's just easy peasy, DocuSign, keep going down. There's so many freaking layoffs though happening right now. It doesn't surprise me that there's all this restructuring going on. So it's crazy.
I don't know if you heard about this story, but movie director Martin Scorsese and his daughter Francesca are being featured in an ad for Squarespace during the Super Bowl. Speaking of tech companies, the New York City native trying to design a website featuring aliens with the help of his daughter. The duo's back and forth mimics the style of their TikTok videos that have gone viral. In those videos, Francesca tries to educate her dad on youth culture.
Yeah, it's awkward. I feel like those things are awkward, but I guess people like them. I don't know. It's not my. It's kind of cute, but then it's just kind of, as the kids would say, a bit cringe, in my opinion. It's a bit cringe.
Did you hear about this? I don't even have a picture of it, but how cool is this going to look? The NBA is doing something unique to their court for All-Star Weekend. The league announcing Monday that a full video LED court will be used for the game on the 16th, used for the several events, rather, at Lucas Oil Stadium. The new floor will make its debut for the celebrity game on the 16th and stay for the three-point and other skill competitions on Saturday night. The high-tech court will feature design and color changes, live replays, and other video content. So as you're looking down on it from a seat up above.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the Sphere, which is all LED or whatever video technology. I was watching this video, not of that, the court, but the Sphere, and someone was saying that it's so good that people actually thought it was stone when you walk in, but it's just video. It's just the projection. That's how clear and cool it looks. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. That thing looks really, really cool.
Well, the High Court features design and color changes, again, live replays, video content, and real-time game stats along with other animations. The traditional All-Star Game tips off from Indianapolis February 18th.
I'm trying to see if I can get a picture of it really
That's
quickly.
Jacob's birthday. Woo-hoo.
Oh, February 16th?
18. Yeah.
18th.
The game, though, let's see. The game is on the 16th, but that's interesting. They at one point they say the celebrity game is on the 16th. The actual All-Star game is on the 18th.
Okay.
And then there's a bunch of events in between. So
sweet. I can't
and today, just as I mentioned, is Chopstick Day.
Chopstick Day. What are we supposed to just eat with chopsticks?
It's the day we honor the two sticks that transport food from to our mouths.
Okay. Are you a good chopstick user?
I am a worse chopstick user.
Really?
My kids actually go for the chopsticks and use them in all kinds of things. Like I'm constantly washing chopsticks at my house.
Oh, so you have them, like the metal ones or the wood ones or whatever?
I have wood chopsticks at my house, like nice wood ones, and they're a utensil of choice for everyone but me. You're frozen again. Yeah. Poor Nikki. We'll see. Maybe she ran to the kitchen to get a pair of chopsticks. I don't know. But I do want to give you this story as well. MTV's Jersey Shore, the Situation, remember him? He's sharing a video of how he and his wife saved their toddler from choking. That had to be a really scary situation. The scary incident happened at the family's dinner table in New Jersey last Thursday night. Mike Sorrentino quickly sprang into action, picking up their 3-year-old son, Romeo, and tapping him on the back until the gnocchi that he choked on became dislodged. The nightmare scenario captured on a Ring camera. Mike sharing the footage to social media over the weekend, saying he and his wife are now signing up for CPR lessons and that Romeo won't be having gnocchi anytime soon. Yeah, that's pretty scary stuff. I can't advocate enough for everyone to sign up for CPR lessons, whether you have a child or not. We did because we have a pool, and so we thought if there's anybody that needs to know in case of an emergency, it's us. Saturday Night Live making fun of Chicago for passing a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. During Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update segment Saturday, Michael Che joked Chicago became the largest U.S. city to call for a ceasefire in Gaza, and in return, Gaza called for a ceasefire in Chicago. The city council approved the controversial resolution last week when Mayor Brandon Johnson cast the tie-breaking vote following a heated debate. I mean, that, I guess, it's in poor taste to joke about war when people are losing their lives. I think it's more of a joke about what's going on in Chicago than what's going on in Gaza. But yeah, it's not going well. Apparently, some people are upset about the joke. Seattle's Woodland Park Zoo has honored an Alaska Airlines flight attendant who rescued rare Chilean flamingo eggs during a flight last August. The zoo official transporting the eggs from Zoo Atlanta to Woodland Park Zoo called the flight attendant when the incubator that was keeping the eggs warm stopped working. The flight attendant found rubber gloves and filled them with warm water to put near the eggs. Passengers offered coats and scarves to insulate the eggs, and it was successful. The eggs hatched, and the flight attendant was invited with her granddaughter to meet the flamingo chicks and get a special tour. That's kind of fun. I mean, that's an interesting job. Not every day do you have the opportunity to save some flamingo eggs, so that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well, this report is sponsored by you, which means we really do rely on you to help us support the show and help us keep it rolling and keep it going. Please find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. That is where the Patreon and the PayPal links are located, along with other things. I did note, just saw this in the chat in passing, Jerry was saying that she can't find the raffle online. I'll have to go to the website and see if that is the case. It should be online, and we'll ask Nikki when she returns if she's making sure that she has it up there. But here's the raffle page. We do have the raffle contest underway right now, and there are separate drawings for the 49ers cooler and the pair of vintage KGO wine glasses. Pretty cool. Thanks to Candace and Kay for donating the amazing raffle items for us. Enter by Thursday, February 8th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. $10 per ticket. And so what I think you can do, even if you can't find the raffle info online, Jerry, is to email Nikki at thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. So email her and she'll tell you how you can participate. I would think it's just PayPaling her the $10 with a note in the comments whether you want the raffle ticket entered for the wine glasses or whether you want it entered for the cooler. I think that's as simple as it is, but check in with Nikki, the Nikki Medoro Show, Medoro, @gmail.com. You can see it on the screen there if you're watching. Yeah. And here she says, $10 raffle ticket, specify in the PayPal comments whether you want it to go to the wine glasses or the 49ers cooler. So that's really it. She might not have it on the website, is why maybe it's not there, but I'll ask her about that when we see her. But it should be fun and a great way to raise some funds for the Nikki Medoro Show. We were definitely under our fundraising last month, so it was a little rough for us. But I will say that we are very grateful for all the ways you guys help, including Doug, who jumps in with a $5 super sticker. Really, really grateful for your help. Thank you so much. Again, Patreon and PayPal, the way to go, and the super chats and super stickers open here on YouTube as well, so that is always an option. And again, I don't want it to sound like a telethon, but I do want to thank you guys for helping us with the show. Okay. Oh, Tesla says my power in the non-downtown section of San Jose was finally restored 26 hours after having gone out. That's a long outage. You know, it always seems kind of like an adventure when it first goes out. And then after the first hour, you're like, oh man, this sucks, right? I'm glad you're finally back online.
I'm trying, you guys.
Hi,
I'm trying.
there you are. Beth Farmer jumping in with a $20 super sticker. Great flamingo story. Should be on the after party too. Well, maybe I'll slide it right into the after party. Why not? Right?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to last very long. They just sent me a text alert. Xfinity did. That They're doing service. So I apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm like listening on my phone and I'm listening like right here. I'm keeping an eye on my Wi-Fi box, and if it disappear, that's what's happening. I apologize.
It was a really long newscast on purpose.
I know. I was listening to you and I was like, I want to come back. I want to come back. I want to come back.
Oh, before you go away again, I do want to tell you that Jerry was saying she can't find the raffle info online. Do we have it online?
It's on my Facebook page. It's on YouTube in the shorts, and it's on my Instagram.
Okay.
So,
but not on the website.
No, I don't know how to put things. Our little website guru guide puts things on the website. I don't know how to put them on the website.
Okay, I can have him do that.
Okay, that's the only. I don't know. That's the only place I don't touch anything apparently. But yeah, if it can go up there. But again, you can go to Facebook if you have Facebook, Instagram. All the details are on there. Yeah. But again, it's really basic. You just it's a $10 per ticket donation. Go to paypal.com. Specify what you want the raffle ticket to go to. Specify, please. That is very important. Don't make me choose please. And then, and yeah, it's just $10 a ticket. And the email address to send it to is the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. So that's all the details. But yeah, you could find all that on my social media. And I've been getting alerts that people are buying raffle tickets. So please. Thank you so much to everybody that's doing that, even though I have tons of technical difficulties today. So, Doug lost his internet too. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Okay, let me do the meta story.
Okay. Get it out there in the world.
God takes me off again. Because it's really kind of messed up if you ask me. So this is what happened. So basically, back in 2022, President Biden, I guess, was hugging or doing something. What he was doing really was placing an "I voted" sticker on his granddaughter's lapel, right? Like parents will do. I've done that with my children, right? But of course, because everyone thinks that Joe Biden sniffs little girls' hairs and is way too affectionate with people, which I will say, I will argue is a generational thing. I really do. If you see older people love to hug and kiss, and they do it to Joe Biden. I've watched so many people when they do a presidential meet hug, and they lead with it. So it's very, should he? Maybe not, because it's a point of criticism, whatever. Anyways, the video from 2022 was manipulated in 2023 to make it appear as if he was inappropriately touching his adult granddaughter's chest. Okay. So basically it kind of, you know what a boomerang is? I think that's how they describe it. I haven't been able to find the exact video, but that's the way CBS described it. He just goes over and over.
Okay.
It's very childish,
yeah,
but whatever. So it's like 7 seconds and it gives this misleading impression. Well, Meta's Oversight Board, which kind of deals with what can be on the site and what can't, has voted that the content can be left up, saying the video does not violate Meta's policies because it was not altered with artificial intelligence. I guess it was just edited. And it does not show Mr. Biden saying words he did not say or doing something he did not do. Because since he did put the sticker on, he did do that. Just because people are editing it to make it look like he's doing it over and over again and making it inappropriate. That's why Meta says it. But this is what I found interesting. While the Oversight Board ruled the video can remain on the site, it also argued in a set of non-binding recommendations, which is just BS, but whatever, that Meta's current policy regarding manipulated content should be reconsidered. The board said the company's current policy on the issue is incoherent, lacks in persuasive justification, and inappropriately focused on how content is created, rather than on which specific harms it aims to prevent, such as disrupting the electoral process. Like, they know it's wrong, but because it's not explicitly written, then it doesn't count. And I just feel like that's the problem with social media, right? Is we know it's BS. We know it can spread far and wide. We know that some wackadoo is going to take it and share it, and then it's going to become truth, right? If you see something enough, if you say something enough in some circles, then it just becomes truth. Similarly, like how we were talking about Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I am asking you guys I don't like her. Why don't you like her? Her cackle, right? I mean, if you really scratch the surface, what don't you like? You're just told people don't like her. She's not likable, right? These are the things that people say over and over. And it's like a brainwashing that can sometimes happen. And so that's the problem with Meta, I'll say TikTok, in all of these social media platforms, even YouTube, right? YouTube. Remember how many, I had a Facebook memory on X of those doctors. Remember those doctors that came out during COVID and they're just wearing white coats? We didn't know anything about these doctors, but they were like, it was spread like they were the expert on infectious diseases. And then it came out that they had absolutely no background in it. Yeah. But because so many people were sharing it, it becomes a form of truth. Yeah. And that's what sucks. And that's what I think needs to change when we're talking about social media. Now, as much as I don't like Elon Musk, and as much as I think that he ruined Twitter, X, I am liking, if you're ever on X, the clarifications under videos or posts. So it'll be even on items that are being sold. They'll be like, I don't know, some sort of gadget for your dog or something. They'll say, oh, this is from a Chinese e-commerce place that's linked to Alibaba. Like, it doesn't necessarily do what it's claiming to do. They'll have videos correcting Elon Musk himself on there. So I think that that's heading in the right direction. I still think that Elon Musk is undermining what is truth and what should be allowed on social media. But it's just, it's really hard when, exactly, Spencer says, Zuck just apologized to the families of parents whose children, took their own lives. Parents said it was disingenuous. This is disingenuous. If you want to stop misinformation and disinformation, especially during election years, you need to stop with this BS being allowed on your platform, right?
What I don't like is the policy is weird. You would think that at a tech company, especially a tech company who is experimenting with AI, right, who is one of the groundbreakers of AI,
right,
that they would have a better policy in place even for non-AI related fakes.
Exactly.
So the board determines Monday the video does not violate Meta's manipulated media policy, which only applies to videos that have been manipulated with artificial intelligence to make it seem as if someone said something that they didn't say.
Which is dumb.
The policy does not apply to manipulated audio. What?
Yeah, right?
It makes no sense.
That's crazy.
So you can fake it in one way, but you can't fake it in another? How about no fakes?
Yeah.
How about that?
No fakes? How about,
Right.
especially when it's proven to be fake?
Yeah.
And it's kind of this, again, I understand how people can post things that they want to, free speech, blah, blah. There's consequences though. And that's my problem. It just seems like we use this umbrella of whatever constitutional right we have to ignore common sense, right? Well, it makes common sense that if there's something that's fake, that's being used politically to manipulate people into believing something that's not true, what harm does it do to remove the lie?
Right.
We have to protect the lie. We have to protect that, even though we know the harm it does.
They're not looking at that. They're looking at how was it altered? How was the video altered?
Right.
That's what they're looking at. They're not looking at the what. They're looking
Right.
at the how, when that's the mistake. They say this policy should not treat deep fakes differently to content altered in other ways. This according to the board. The current policy does not clearly specify the harms it's seeking to prevent. Meta needs to provide greater clarity to the board on what those harms are and needs to make revisions quickly. Given the record number of elections in 2024. I would argue that it's important in an election year or for elections, but it's important all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And whether it's just, one of our kids who someone grabbed their face and made some weird deep fake grossness out of it.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is, get rid of it. If it's fake, if it didn't happen, gone.
Well, and also explain to me, if you don't want it gone, what purpose it serves. What good does it do? What does allowing lies and misinformation to, expand and spread easily on social media, what good does that do to us as a society? Especially in Anonymous, I do like, that's the community notes on X. I do like those as well, but they're not universal. They're not foolproof, right? We need to be able to police ourselves and be like, no, we're not good. We're not good at this. We're not good at realizing what's real and what's fake. It's really easy for us to hit retweet, right? Share. It's really easy, especially when it feeds into a narrative we already believe. We don't need fact checking. Oh, good. Oh, Biden's a pedophile. That'll just spread. Spread. I'll just say, oh, look, there's another example of him being inappropriate. And just on a side note, the fact that Republicans or Trump supporters can even say in the same breath that Biden is a pervert when Donald Trump sexually assaulted a woman is rich. But that's just, again, this hypocrisy that proliferates all over. It's insane. Interesting question from Randy. If Biden wasn't running for president and this was, would it be okay?
No.
I would say no. That in a larger scheme of, does it need to be taken as quickly away as something else? I think that when we're talking about politics and misinformation and the impact of said post, but no, you should know, or at least give a disclaimer. This has been manipulated. He didn't actually put the sticker. He's not actually touching her breast. Why can't we have that? Make it so people don't believe BS so easily, because it's so easy to spread. Exactly, Gordon. It's so easy to spread lies because of the internet. We act like the internet's not this this big factor. It's a huge factor in the problems that we're facing as society. Cheating, right? Writing down notes and sharing them with your friends. Oh, when it was in classroom, you had a piece of paper, you had to pass it. There was a risk involved. Now you could post it on the internet for millions of people to use. That fundamentally changes something. Oh, everybody cheated when I was in high school. Oh, you had cliff notes and things. It's different now. Stop acting like it's the same year. It's not the same. So that's what pisses me off about the whole thing. And so I think that Meta's made the wrong decision here. I really do.
I just expect more from them. I expect them to have a better policy. I expect them to be smarter about it.
Yeah.
But it's not about the how, it's about the what as well.
Exactly.
And if you're only looking at the how, you're very short-sighted.
Exactly. And they're just bringing more problems on themselves. Like Meta, read the freaking room. People want truth. They were desperate for truth. I'm tired of, and I know there's some, well, what's truth? You believe that Trump was colluding with Russia. You know what I mean? Like, stop. There is truth and there is lie. And for us to try and debate that is so upsetting. It just is. And I'm tired of it. And conspiracies, and we're just, and you know what? Maybe that explains why we want to slap on that stupid virtual thing on our eyes all the time and block out the real world, because the real world can be very, very upsetting to people. And now, I'm starting to get it a little bit. I really am.
Can I throw out a story your way? There is a petition, I don't know if you've heard about this, calling for former President Trump to be disqualified from holding office under the insurrection clause in the U.S. Constitution. Okay. All right? It was launched by Move On, which is a very progressive advocacy group. In December of 2022, this calls on election officials to remove Trump from state ballots for the 2024 election under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, who prohibits those who engaged in insurrection from holding office. It now has more than 480,000 signatures.
Yeah, but does that matter?
I don't know. It was at 200,000 6 months ago, but it had at least 480,110 signatures as of today. I don't know how many they need or whether...
Well, it doesn't have any sort of...
No, any teeth to it
at
all.
There's no teeth to it. Okay, sign it.
Yeah.
That expresses a viewpoint, and
Right.
then it's still not up to them. I mean, I love Move On and some of the things they support, but it's nice to have it's like a poll.
Yeah.
Look at all these people that see it the same way. Look at all these people that don't think, that Trump shouldn't be president, but there's no teeth to it. They could say, like, look at all these people.
480,000 people who finally say there should be some type of consequence for betraying the country.
Yeah. I mean, but again, there's probably just as many people that would say Trump did nothing wrong, right? So if we're going to poll people. And I get what you're saying. Okay, so look. Randy, here it is. Oh, am I freezing again? Here we go. Just beat Trump at the ballot box, Randy writes, in 2024, if he's the nominee. That's how you defeat Trump. The if he's the nominee is the important part, Randy, because I know many other people agree, like that poll, he shouldn't be allowed to be the nominee. That's the problem. We're looking for the next president of the United States. We are in a two-party system in this country. So are we saying we don't even want any sort of valid person to run against President Biden? And I'm speaking as a Biden supporter. He has disqualified himself to even run.
He's so dangerous. What he did is so awful and so dangerous. He doesn't deserve to be anywhere near that ballot. His name deserves to be nowhere near that ballot. He shouldn't be at all close to being president again.
Right, exactly.
Because he has disqualified himself. His name, you say beat him at the ballot box, but there's always that what if. There's always that what if saying, well, I guess, he could technically win again. No, he could not technically win again because he is not eligible to be on the ballot. Swipe his name off. He's gone.
Yeah. And I don't understand why Republicans want him to be the nominee. He's problematic, to say the least. He is very problematic. And you should have a better candidate. That's the thing. Raise the bar, Republicans. Raise it. Just a hair. Just a hair. And you get someone, and I hate to say it, so much better than Trump, but so much better than Trump. Someone that doesn't come with all these legal problems.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't speak that way. Someone that's not so divisive. Find a better candidate because you're going to have to. Trump's not going to live forever. Okay. And so it's such a waste of time that they couldn't find anybody else that could rally the troops, the conservative vote besides Trump. And that's something that they did to themselves. They really, really did. So I don't know. It's upsetting.
So Thursday is the day that the Supreme Court will hear arguments in Trump's challenge to the Colorado ruling. Of course, the state of Colorado Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court, took Trump's name off of their ballot for the same reason. So it has now been taken to the Supreme Court, and Thursday the Supreme Court was set to hear arguments.
Phineas has some breaking news. Kim McAllister.
What do you got? Mother of Oxford, Michigan shooter guilty of involuntary manslaughter, according to breaking news. Well,
that's the Crumbley case.
Phineas, that's the Jennifer Crumbley case I've been following. So let me check it out as we've been talking about something else here.
Right. Thank you, Phineas.
Thank you, Phineas. Yeah, it is true. According to CNN, the mother of the school shooter is found guilty of manslaughter.
What does that bring? Do we know what kind of sentence that brings for her? Look, I'm sure she's devastated. I'm not trying to be heartless. She failed as a parent.
That jury deliberated for more than 10 hours. That was it. 10 hours.
It's not hard. Yeah. It's not hard to look. I would be hard pressed to find someone that doesn't think she's guilty of something, So
she had pleaded guilty to not guilty rather, to 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. She faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted on all. What we know is that she was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, but we don't know if that's for all 4 counts. I would assume it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So as much as 15 years, but it could be less.
Yeah. Phineas has 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. And I agree with it. I mean, look, God, you know what? I can't even imagine being the parent of a victim or being the parent of a shooter. And God, I hope and pray I will never be in that position. But gosh, how do you not see the signs that your kid is in trouble and you give him a weapon? I'm so sorry, woman. You have to go to prison. You have to. And not only that, it sends a message to other parents out there thinking, oh, it'll be okay. No, help your kid. Help your kid.
They said the prosecutor said this is a rare case that takes some really egregious facts.
Yeah.
It can't be just that, oh, I kind of thought he was having problems, but I didn't know. That's not what we're saying here, right? That's not how this works. She said it takes the unthinkable, and she has done the unthinkable, and because of that, 4 kids have died.
Yeah.
So
it's you have to know your kid, but you also, if you are worried about your kid, look, if my kid was having mental health struggles, a gun wouldn't be something that I would think about buying them. No. Okay. And the fact that she did, the fact that she went to the school, the fact that the school said that he was, writing these terrible things had helped me. At the very least, you take your kid out of school to have a conversation. You give a shit. You know what I mean? You care. You put your arm around him and be like, what is going on with you?
Right.
You don't say, I got to go back to work. And then he murders people. You don't do that. And also, and I'm going to say this, how Ethan Crumbley must have felt writing those words, begging for help. His parents come and then leave him. And I'm not trying to say that what he did was horrific, but he's a kid who's obviously not in his right mind, and your parents aren't doing anything to help you. That in and of itself has to add on to whatever he's going through. So it's just, it's a tragedy on top of a tragedy. But yeah.
By the way, go to prison. Jennifer Crumbley's husband, James, is scheduled to go on trial for the same charges in early March. So this is not over.
Yeah, it's not over. And he should face the same charges. I mean, these parents need to be responsible. Parents, you are responsible for your kids and what they do and what they don't do. And that's it. And I'm just... Yeah, Louise, they called her into the counseling office, and not only did she not do anything, she forgot to mention they bought him a gun.
Duh.
And again, remember there was that bill where parents, it was here in California, but I don't think it went through, you are to disclose to school districts whether or not there's guns in your home.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, no, you can't know if I have a gun. That's going to put me on some sort of list, blah, 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 blah.
These are the 4 kids that no longer are alive because of her stupidity.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
These kids that had their whole life in front of them.
Yep.
Their whole lives. And even Ethan had his whole life in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's again, there's no winner here. There's no winner here. And it's just sad. It really, really is. And I'm not saying I'm happy that she got, found guilty, but I am. I'm happy that there's a message being sent out here that you can't do this. Kids don't need guns. I mean, if you're going to have a gun in your home, you better make sure it's locked away. Yeah. But you don't just give them free reign to have a weapon, especially when they have mental health problems. Oh, thank you, Lady Beatrice, for the $10 donation. Yeah. I find it interesting. This is the only parent being held accountable for their child's actions because there are other shooters who parents need to be charged and haven't been. Yeah, I agree. I think the difference here was the fact that they were brought to the school and left. They bought the gun for now. I'm sure in other shootings, the guns were in the home. I'm not quite sure if it was like a gift that the parents gave.
Gift to you. Yeah.
And I think that, like Kim mentioned, the egregious nature of what happened and what led up to this shooting is why I think this is the first. And sadly, what I hope is probably not going to be the last. I think the parents need to be more quickly charged in cases like this.
They say the prosecution's case against her focused on 3 things. Her knowledge of her son's mental issues. So she knew, right?
Yes, we did know.
How he got access to that firearm. They gave it to him. And her actions at a pivotal school meeting on the morning of the shooting.
Yeah.
So those 3 things were like, and it wasn't just one thing, right? It was thing upon thing upon thing. So
there were many points in which those 4 lives could have been saved. There were so many chances for that shooting to not happen at all. And there was failure on top of failure on top of failure. And it's ridiculous. If you have a minor child in your home, you are responsible for that child. And you do not just put them in harm's way or allow them to do what this kid did, especially if you're brought into the school. I mean, again, this whole case, pretty cut and dry. Like Kim said, 10 hours. That ain't long.
The drawing that was found, it showed a gun and a person bleeding along with the phrase, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me."
There you go. I don't know how much clearer this kid need to make it, right? Like, he's screaming for help. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it okay. But he's screaming for help. Literally writing it down. And these parents weren't worried one bit. That's it. They were more concerned with whatever the hell they were concerned about. And that's it. It's just, it's sad. Grady says, in this day and age, to make a choice to give your kid a gun when he has some kind of problems just to make him happy, that's a terrible decision. And I'm glad she's not around to make another one like it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just so crazy. Now, Chris, I'm assuming you're saying that the school maybe should be held accountable. Chris says schools claim to have dominion over students' lives until the school doesn't want liability.
Well, the school, for what its part, a school counselor testified that he recommended that day that the parents take their son home from school to get immediate mental health treatment.
Right.
Now, what I don't understand is why the school would have allowed him back to class.
Yeah.
When you have a note like that, then no, you're done for the day, kid. Maybe even the week, until you can show that you've been to mental health and that a psychologist has signed off that you're ready to return. Don't come back.
I feel like it's not a broken rule. You know what I mean? I feel like, again, it's going back to that meta thing, right? Well, it's not explicitly written. You can write, you can draw whatever you want to draw, and just saying help me doesn't, I feel like there's these caveats that people lose themselves in when it should have been very clear that this kid needed to be removed from school. Like, there should have been no ifs, ands, or buts. If you're brought to the principal's office for any sort of violent, whatever, drawing, speech, threat, whatever, how about a home day? You know what I mean? Like, I think you need a mental health break and figure it out.
Well, here's the craziest thing. She sat on the witness stand and said, I wouldn't do anything differently.
Bye.
I wouldn't have done anything differently than it went. I would have, if it was happening today, I would have done the same thing.
She's an idiot.
And here's what the prosecutor said. Just the smallest of things they said. And not only did she not do it, she doesn't even regret it.
Right. Like that's an idiot right there.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not regret all of the steps you could have taken to prevent that from happening? The Lady Beatrice says, even if it's for negligence, there should be criminal charges for these parents. Don't matter if they bought the gun. They need to be held accountable. And thank you so much for the $5 donation. Yes.
Do you wonder if we as parents were held accountable more, that we would be more careful about how we store weapons, that we would be more careful about how our children are feeling, about how everything, do you think if it was on us, if we knew that we would be held legally or criminally responsible, that we would have more?
But why does it have to be that way? How about you just don't want people to be put in danger?
Yeah.
How about it's common sense that a gun accidents happen? Like, why does it have to be like, well, if you also do that, then it's just as if, I shouldn't give my children alcohol. I don't do that because, if they catch me, I'm going to be arrested for it. I do it because you shouldn't be giving children alcohol. Like, I hear what you're saying. And I hope that this case serves as a reminder for parents that have that mentality. But geez, Louise, you shouldn't have to have a law to know kids and guns, like somebody said, don't mix, and add mental health problems into that. And you have a recipe for disaster.
I have known people who live on a ranch and they're into hunting.
Of course.
That's a whole other discussion, but whatever. That have bought their teenage sons, hunting rifles.
Yeah.
And they store them in a locked case, right? And they use them out on the ranch or whatever it may be. They have a lifestyle that's different. And if there was a mental issue, that, they would be, it's different. It just seems like a whole different scenario.
Well, of course it is. I mean, because you're oftentimes people that are raised in ranches or hunting families, they are hopefully given more firearm training, right? You know how to use a gun, how to clean a gun, how to be responsible with a gun, those sorts of things, which I support. If you're going to have a gun in your house, you should definitely, keep it away from your kids until they're old enough, and then teach them to be responsible. But if also you're in one of these families where guns are constantly around, and then you add on a mental health issue, that becomes a dangerous scenario because now the kid has access to something that could quickly take their life. That's a problem. And so that takes a parent being in tune with their child, and it's tough. Kids can act a certain way with you and then be doing something behind closed doors. It's not easy.
And maybe there's a case where you really didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Where you really didn't know. But I would argue you still have to have your guns locked up.
Yeah.
You still need to be careful because in case after case, we've seen that there's been an unsecured weapon in the home. Somehow a kid got his hands on it or her hands on it or whatever. So we need to be careful, very careful.
Thank you, Gordon, so much for the $3 super sticker. I know it's been a lot of heavy topics today, but I really do appreciate all of you guys joining the show. We'll continue to follow this. Like Kim mentioned, the father's going to be next up. So we'll see what's happening in that case with him. But I can only imagine he's going to get the same type of charges against him. He did the exact same thing. Wrong.
Same charges. That's right.
Exactly. Let me give some more thank yous. Lady Beatrice for a $5 donation. Thank you. Also came in with a $10 donation.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Doug, for the $5 super sticker as well. I think there might have been others, but because my computer shut down, big thank you to everybody else that donated, but I lose all of those once I have to log in again. Okay, the raffle fundraiser
I have them on my end.
Oh,
Beth.
perfect. There, Beth,
Yeah.
$20 donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great at Flamingo Story should be on After Party too.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, was there any others?
Doug, Beth, Lady Beatrice twice, and Gordon.
Perfect. Okay, great. Okay, so now get your raffle tickets. Again, they're $10 a piece. If you go to my Facebook page, if you look in YouTube Shorts on my YouTube channel, they should be up there as well. Instagram. But basically, $10 a ticket, paypal.com. The email address to send the money to is thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. Specify in the PayPal comments whether you want the cooler, the wine glass, or you want it split between both. It's $10 her prize, and the money goes to the show because we are 100% crowdfunded, and we really do need your help to keep the show going because we love being here and we love the conversation. Yeah. Okay, hopefully Chip Franklin will be on with us tomorrow. We'll get an update on his take on politics and, of course, this monster storm that's been happening and won't let Southern California go. Kim McAllister with her beanie. I love it. He looks so adorable in that. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.